Is it weird that my boyfriend, M32, of 1 week offered to change my daughter's, F9 months, diaper? I have been seeing a guy we will call Josh for officially a week. We have known of each other for over 2 or 3 years now, but we've only recently started talking properly. He knew I was pregnant last year and then recently had the baby, and he assumed I was still with my daughter's father, but we split up when she was only a month old. Josh had met my daughter a few times before we were together. We bumped into each other in social situations, but only about a month ago we started talking, and then a week ago, he asked me if I wanted to make things official with him. I said yes. Now I trust Josh, but when I was visiting him, my daughter needed her diaper changed. I said that I needed to use the bathroom too, so I would just take her with me and do it. He offered to change her on his bed whilst I went to the toilet myself. I thanked him for the offer but said I will do it myself in the bathroom. He insisted and said I should leave her with him while I go. I politely refused and said if I leave her while I go out the room, she would probably start crying as she is currently going through a clingy stage. Josh again said he doesn't mind changing diapers as he has a son, so he knows what he's doing. I firmly said no this time and went to the bathroom with her. I feel a bit mean as I think he was just offering to help, but I can't help but think it's wrong for anyone to change a baby's diaper unless they are said baby's parent. Is this weird or is he genuinely trying to help? My friend said that maybe he's just trying to make an effort and show he doesn't mind the fact I've got a daughter and he's taking her on. Please advise? It's not weird for him to offer, as one parent to another. But it's incredibly weird for him to insist after you said, no. He either has sinister motives or is so fucking clueless about how you should respect boundaries that it doesn't make much difference. Listen to your gut. The insisting is strange. Predators seek out single mothers of target children, and he offered to do so in a situation where you couldn't even see them. Maybe it's nothing, but if it's something you'll regret ignoring it for the rest of your life. Always trust your instincts. There is absolutely nothing alarming about someone offering to change a baby's diaper. What is sus is that he kept insisting and saying it again and again after you said no. Nope. Nope. I might get downvoted to shit, but IDC. Your kids don't need to be meeting your boyfriend of 1 week, much less having their privates exposed to them, especially while you're not around. It would be okay if you said no and he said okay. But he didn't. He kept pushing the issue, and something about told you it wasn't quite right. He may be a good guy and just eager to help, but what's the worst case scenario? You don't let him change the diaper, and if you've only been official for a week, that's a perfectly acceptable boundary, and he gets offended, or you leave him alone with your daughter and something happens to her. Sure, there's some space in between those two options, but ultimately you said no and he didn't accept that. Under any circumstance, not accepting no is like the biggest, brightest red flag someone can wave 1 week into the relationship. If I had children, I wouldn't let anyone around them unsupervised. Man or woman, I don't give a fuck. STI diagnosis: my 23F husband, 28M, swears he has been faithful. Am I going crazy? Today, I found out I have an STI. I haven't been with anyone but my husband since I was 19, and have been tested and proven clean since then. He is swearing up and down that he hasn't cheated. I don't believe him, but at the same time, why the hell would try to deny it if I had this kind of proof? I feel like I'm going crazy for not believing him, but at the same time I feel like I would be stupid to believe him. I'm completely lost. I'm financially dependent on him and far away from any support system. I don't know what to do moving forward. I feel like I need an adult, but normally I would go to his mom for advice, and obviously I don't want to talk to her about this. If he wasn't cheating, he would probably be trying to kill you for cheating. He's too calm about it. He knows where it came from. Is it herpes? There are several variants of that virus and not all of them derive from S. Now, chlamydia? Upside down face. My wife tested positive for chlamydia, and I know I wasn't cheating. I tested negative, and fairly positive she wasn't. She went in for a retest and 2x came back negative. Long and short is that there is a possibility for a false positive. My ex didn't accuse me of cheating when I came up with one. It was because he was cheating and knew he gave it to me. 99.9% chance he cheated. What STD? That impacts the odds of you catching it right away. Either way, sorry to hear. Imagine cheating then telling your wife the STD she has was from a toilet seat, loudly crying I've been this man like yesterday. How to compromise on intimacy during pregnancy. 26F, 28M. I'm expecting our second baby in a month, and honestly if our sex life were up to me, we'd never have it. I just have no drive right now. Gas pedals are non-existent, brakes are everywhere. My husband and I have compromised for 2-3 times a week for most of our marriage. It meets his needs and mine pretty well that way. However, during pregnancy, he's feeling less than desired and his libido has increased a lot. Meanwhile I'm overwhelmed by his affectionate attempts and am not feeling it 99% of the time. I've told him no sex when our toddler is awake. I'm at the point in pregnancy where I'm miserable all the time. We just moved and beyond all the unpacking and chores and renovations, I hit the pillow so utterly exhausted I can't see straight. Sex isn't comfy at all, and more times than not I end up frustrated by the time we are done. How do I help meet his needs without becoming resentful, more so than I already am? I understand that I can just say no and he can deal with it, but I'm shooting for more of a win-win than a win total lose. Send me all the ideas. What does he say when you tell him this? If your man can't wait for you to pop out his baby and heal before expecting regular sexual activity, this isn't a communication issue, it's a respect issue, and a huge one. Pestering someone for sex when they are exhausted, drained, hormonal, and uncomfortable after being told those are the reasons why is honestly a disgusting disregard for that person. Depending on what happens in the delivery room, many women tear too badly to have sex again for many months, not just a few weeks. What would he do then? Why is this temporary condition being weaponized to make you feel guilty for not meeting his needs when you're growing his child? Sorry, but that sounds awful. Compromising 2-3 times a week, I'd be so resentful. IDK how you can do it. Would he be content with alternatives to sex that are more stimulating than masturbation? While my wife was recovering from birth, I bought a male masturbator toy. Don't just buy a crappy cheap fleshlight, spend a good $50,100 on one and good water-based lube. The sensation is intense and close to the mechanical feeling of sex. It is not capable of replacing sex, but it will release some of the pressure he's feeling in his loins. It really helped me. If you guys have the means, hop onto a reputable sex toy site and go shopping. There are lots of reviews for products, even on Reddit. There is no compromise when it comes to sex. If you are having sex when one person doesn't exactly want to, you will feel resentment over time. How is your intimacy outside of sex? Cuddles, long hugs, kisses, words of affirmations, love notes, massages, etc. Men need to understand that if they keep pushing for sex because they don't feel loved, is selfish. They need to work on intimacy. If he is still pushing for sex, talking to a therapist or even a sex therapist might be wise. I wish you the best of luck. This is so gross to read. You do not have to compromise. You are growing his child and raising another one. He can manage his desires himself and realize that not everything is about him and his penis. Say no. Tell him you are uncomfortable and pregnant and not in the mood, and if he makes you feel even the slightest bit guilty, he's sleeping on the couch. If a man tried to guilt me into sex while I was growing his baby, I would probably commit arson. How do I, 30 female, get my husband, 28 male, to share his fantasies with me? I, 30F, and my husband, 28M, have been married 3 years. My husband has always been very open to me about what he likes and dislikes in women, or so I thought. Things like he doesn't like black hair, he doesn't like the fake body look, overly done plastic surgery, he doesn't like a lot of piercings, etc. He has also expressed his feelings about how looking at other men and women sexually online is cheating in his eyes and that it's not appropriate. Same goes for masturbation. He thinks it's not right to masturbate or use toys without the other around. For clarity, my husband grew up very Christian, but he's not a regular goer anymore. Unfortunately, I ended up having a miscarriage and it crushed us. Well, since then, our sex life has declined. I always try to spice it up by sending him sexy pictures, getting lingerie, trying new techniques, and he likes it but then acts weird about it. I have always had a high sex drive and I love to be pleasured. The problem I am having most recently is that he always says he's tired and he wants to only do a quickie, or he doesn't want to at all but still wants a BJ, which I'm happy to give,
but out of both of those, I never get my pleasure out of it.
So I'm almost becoming desperate and begging at this point.
But the weird thing to me is that, I have caught him looking at girls and searching porn in his browsing history.
And he always does it in the bathroom while pooping. And the girls he is searching are the types he says he doesn't like. So here I am throwing myself at my husband,
but yet he is going against his word. He keeps telling me and doing it himself. So what should I do? How do I get my husband to open up to me and share his actual fantasies to me so we can both be pleasured and happy?
Update. We sat down and had a talk, and I blatantly asked him some questions and expressed some concerns. We had a good heart-to-heart and talked more on the miscarriage, the porn, and much more. I think we are moving forward in a better position.
Thank you everyone for all of your suggestions and help. It sounds like y'all have some bigger issues to unpack here. The fact that he has an issue with masturbation and porn but is engaging in both is hypocritical and inconsiderate of your feelings.
It seems like he is projecting.
Him ignoring your needs but still expecting BJs or quickies is also really inconsiderate.
Since the miscarriage, have both of you sat down and had a candid discussion about your feelings?
Other than that, maybe considered couples therapy?
Yikes, what a nightmare. Can't even touch your own body without him. Lol, it's always the Christians.
Act all holier than, but meanwhile back at the ranch.
If you want to watch porn, at least be honest about it.
He never will. He clearly sets all the rules but doesn't actually follow them. Plus he's also a very selfish lover. Men like this don't open up about their fantasies or porn habits because they're ashamed to share it, and he would never allow himself to look weak or be vulnerable with you.
1. He's obviously a selfish lover. Cut out the BJs until he learns to use his mouth and tongue. 2. Christian upbringing can often cause great confusion for married couples. Suddenly sex is wide open, when it was avoided as sinful for so long. 3. I would discuss with him that since you are married, really nothing should be off the table between the two of you, and ask him to try one or more of your fantasies. 4. He may need counseling over the miscarriage and his conflicts over sex, porn and masturbation. Could potentially be a porn addict, where he is opting for porn as opposed to sex with you.
This may come from low confidence on his part.
It may also be a preference, kink that he is into and isn't sharing that with you.
Admittedly, as the relationship becomes more long-term and stable, sex typically declines, which is normal.
If you're not satisfied though, you should talk about that with him. You do.